And welcome back. Well, environmentalists taking Suffolk County to court over how tax dollars are used. The Long Island Pine Barrens Society has filed a lawsuit. Now, the group says the county's 0.25% sales tax to protect Suffolk's underground water supply is actually being diverted to balance the county budget. County Executive Steve Levy says some money will be used to balance the budget, but a bigger chunk will be used to build new sewers.
You do not need a mandatory referendum to do what this bill does. Sewers enable us to grow our economy and cleanse the water at the same time.
Now, this is complicated stuff. Joining me now to share his thoughts on this is Richard Amper of the Long Island Pine Barrens Society. First, Dick, thanks for joining us. You've been here many times.
Good to be with you.
Okay, so you filed a lawsuit. We actually have a copy of the lawsuit right now. You're suing Suffolk County. There's a quarter, without getting too specific, too much detail, there's a 0.25% sales tax in Suffolk County, and basically it is designed to protect the drinking water there. But there's certain elements to it.
Stone, you're absolutely right about that. From 1987 to the present, Suffolk taxpayers, paying 2.5 times the national average in taxes, have gone to the polls and 5 times have voted to say, if you will take a 1/4 penny of our sales tax and invest it in protecting our underground drinking water supplies for our children and grandchildren, we'll give you even more money, but only for that. And that law also says that can never be changed unless the public votes to change it.
Okay, now let me play devil's advocate a little bit. The county executive, Steve Levy, is saying, look, there's several parts to this program. There is the Open Space Preservation Act, there is the Sewage Fund, which is a tax stabilization fund, and what he's saying is that you're misleading the public, that actually the money that is being taken is coming from a different part of this act. It has nothing to do with preserving the land. How would you respond to that?
The answer is it doesn't have anything to do with preserving land, and preserving land is what protects our drinking water. We are the only place in the state that has a sole source aquifer. All of our water comes from beneath our feet, and the public understands that, and you don't want to build on top of it. You don't want sewage to be going into that. Well, but this is important. Okay. So they have voted regularly to spend their money to do this. This is the first time in the middle of tough tax time where somebody has proposed to take that money away from where the public voted it should go.
But he's saying, and you respond to this, he's saying it's not coming from that portion of the act, not coming from that portion of the 0.25% protection plan. It's coming from a different portion of it, which is the sewage tax stabilization. He's saying there's a surplus right there. It's a reserve surplus, and we're using that money partly to balance the budget, but also partly to build new sewages.
He's not allowed to do that because they told the voters when they voted for this measure that the public would decide. If he thinks it's a better idea to do that, he needs to ask the public to support that. It's not his money, it's the taxpayers' money. This is not money that we're taxed that we all are overburdened by. We got to say what we wanted to do with the money, and neither he nor the legislature is allowed to simply take that authority away. If he thinks we should spend it in a different way, he is not honor bound, but legally bound to ask the public if they agree.
And again, I don't want to litigate the case.
No, and we're not going to do that.
We're not going to litigate the case. I just want to get.
But it's wrong, don't you think? It's wrong.
Let me ask you this, because he issued a statement today responding publicly, at least, to some of the allegations in here, and he's saying, well, look, in New York State there is a law. It allows statutes allow amendments to be modified by the legislature that were passed by referendum. I mean, and he cites the Bloomberg case with the term limits.
Well, then good. We're not going to litigate the case, so we'll make it very short.
Okay.
What happened in New York City is that the law said that Bloomberg couldn't run for more than 2 terms. The legislature there, the city council, said, yeah, he can. The difference was that in the referendum that said he couldn't, there was no provision that the government couldn't change it. In the case of the Drinking Water Protection Program, it was written on the ballot, and it's written in the Suffolk County Charter that it can only be changed, modified, extended, or altered by a vote of the people who gave them the money in the first place. The people of Long Island, as badly taxed as they are, put up hundreds of millions of dollars over the course of 24 years to protect their drinking water. Neither Steve Levy nor the legislature has any authority to take that away from them.
Okay. Let me ask you this, because he claims, the county executive, obviously in his statement that he put out today.
Well, you're not just being the devil's advocate here. You seem to be taking his position.
Well, no, and certainly I'm not taking his position, but I want to make this as balanced as possible so you get the response for it. He's saying that environmental groups were backing this law, and that again, you're misleading people by saying the environmental groups are against this, and that he's going against environmental groups. Now, let me answer that.
Okay. There is not an environmental group on Long Island that believes for 1 minute that the government is allowed to do this without the public authority. They may want to invest more in the sewers, despite the fact that the Suffolk County Department of Health Services is saying the sewers aren't working, that we have to protect the aquifer by buying the land over it. Right. There is not an environmental group that he can cite or find or show up on News 12 tomorrow that says that the public doesn't get to decide that. He can't.
And to bolster what you're saying, he certainly didn't cite any environmental groups in his statement that he put out today. Richard Amper, Executive Director, Long Island Pine Barrens Society. I appreciate you coming on. I will say also on your side that that act, the 0.25% program, protection program, has been modified 15 times, all by mandatory referendum. So at least
this is a
historically is
this is a slam dunk.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on talking with us, and
my pleasure.
We'll see how the lawsuit.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks. Well, cooler weather is upon us, so how long will it last? Samantha, Jerry?